The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council stretched before Commander Elena Reyes, like an ocean of stars. Situated in the heart of the wheel-shaped Citadel Station, the chamber's high vaulted ceiling was adorned with holographic representations of the member races' home systems, each twinkling in perfect synchronization with their distant counterparts. Orbiting the Lagrange point between the Milky Way core and the outer spiral arm, the Citadel served as the nexus of interstellar politics for over 2,000 cycles. Elena straightened her midnight blue uniform, the silver insignia of Earth's United Space Command, catching the light as she moved. Behind her stood her small delegation, Dr. Sophia Nakamura, Earth's leading xenolinguist, whose quiet brilliance had helped decode 3 previously untranslatable alien languages, and Lieutenant Aaron Patel, whose watchful eyes continuously swept the chamber, assessing potential threats with the precision of the security officer he was. "They've arranged this to intimidate us," Lieutenant Patel whispered, his hand resting near his ceremonial sidearm. "Placing our delegation at the lowest tier, while the founding races look down on us from above." Elena nodded slightly, but maintained her composed expression. "That was always expected, Lieutenant. 200 years of interstellar civilization is nothing compared to the millennia some of these species have traveled the stars." Dr. Nakamura adjusted her translator device, her fingers moving with practiced precision. "The geometric arrangement is significant beyond mere intimidation, Commander. In most Council member cultures, spatial positioning indicates hierarchical standing. They're not just showing us our place, they're telling a story about who we are." Elena took a measured breath, letting the gravity of the moment sink in. Humanity's first formal invitation to address the Council had come after decades of quiet expansion to 3 colony worlds, Novo Terra Horizon and Demeter. Earth had hoped for recognition, and perhaps if fortune favored them, an invitation for full membership. The weight of 9 billion human souls rested on her shoulders. From an elevated dais, Counselor Vaxer of the Zeshar Collective rose to his full height. The arthropodal diplomat's iridescent exoskeleton caught the chamber's light, splitting it into prismatic shards across the assembly. His 4 upper limbs moved in the ceremonial greeting pattern of the Council, while his voice, translated through the chamber's acoustic field, resonated with formal gravity. "The 427th Assembly of the Galactic Council recognizes the representatives of Terra, 3rd planet, of the Sol system, and her colonial extensions." Vaxor's compound eyes seemed to study Elena with calculated curiosity. "You stand before the united wisdom of 47 spacefaring civilizations spanning 17 galactic sectors. What would Earth ask of this august body?" Elena stepped forward, her footsteps echoing in the momentary silence. She had rehearsed this moment countless times on the 3-month journey from Earth, yet now surrounded by the alien delegates whose civilizations had shaped galactic history for millennia, the prepared words felt insufficient. "Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady and clear. "Humanity extends its gratitude for this audience. Earth and her colonies seek neither charity nor special consideration, but recognition of our rightful place among the stars. We come with open hands, offering cultural exchange, scientific collaboration, and mutual defense. We petition the Council for consideration of full membership status based on our demonstrated technological achievement, peaceful expansion, and commitment to sapient rights across our sphere of influence." A ripple of untranslatable vocalizations swept across the chamber. Elena noticed several representatives of the avian Crearch cluster leaning forward, their feathered crests rising in what her briefings had identified as expressions of either interest or alarm. Counselor Vaxer's mandibles clicked softly before he spoke again. "The representative speaks boldly for such a young species. The Council acknowledges that humanity has shown unusual development since its discovery of faster-than-light travel merely 2 centuries ago. From an upper tier, a luminous, gelatinous entity pulsed with colors that translated into speech. The humans have colonized 3 worlds without Council sanction. Their military vessels, while few, incorporate technologies that they should not possess at their development stage. Elena felt Lieutenant Patel tense behind her, but she maintained her diplomatic poise. With respect, Counselor Humanity developed its gravitic drive systems independently. We have not violated any technology sharing protocols, as we were not yet under Council jurisdiction. That remains to be determined, came the cold response from Vaxor. Your species' rapid expansion and technological acceleration has been noted with concern by several senior council members. The Zisher Collective has monitored your development since your first interstellar probes entered the Oort region of your system. Dr. Nakamura stepped forward, catching Elena's eye with a subtle nod. If I may address the Council on matters of cultural development, she asked her translator, rendering her words into the formal linguistic patterns most respected in Council proceedings. After a moment of consideration, Vaxor inclined his armored head. The Council recognizes the human specialist. Esteemed representatives, Nakamura began, cross-cultural analysis suggests that rapid development is not inherently destabilizing. The historical records accessible to us indicate that the Morrigan Confederation experienced similar accelerated growth during their early stellar expansion, as did the Tau Collective before them. Both now stand as respected council members. She gestured gracefully toward the representatives of these races, who stirred at the unexpected acknowledgement. A murmur of discussion rippled through the chamber, and Elena noticed several delegates conferring privately. She allowed herself a moment of cautious optimism. Nakamura's strategic mention of these respected races might help position humanity in a more favorable light. The moment was short-lived. Councillor Vaxor raised all 4 of his upper limbs, silencing the chamber. The Council has deliberated on Terra's petition for membership since it was first received. We have reviewed your species' history, biology, and patterns of development. We have studied your conflicts, your resolutions, and your potential. Elena felt a subtle shift in the chamber's atmosphere, a stillness that preceded a verdict. Humanity is aggressive, adaptable, and ambitious. Vaxor continued, his translated voice, carrying no emotional inflection. These qualities make your kind both valuable and dangerous. The Council has determined that full membership at this time would be premature. Elena maintained her composure, though she felt the sting of disappointment. The Council's wisdom is acknowledged. What then does the Council propose? Vaxor's compound eyes seemed to gleam with an unreadable expression. The Council offers Earth and her colonies a 200-year probationary period. During this time, your expansion will be limited to your current holdings. Your military vessels will be registered and monitored. Your trade and technology development will proceed under Council guidance. In exchange, Earth will receive partial observer status and limited access to certain Council technologies. The words hung in the chamber like lead weights. Elena felt Lieutenant Patel's silent outrage behind her, and even Dr. Nakamura's careful neutrality had given way to a barely perceptible frown. 2 centuries of supervision, Elena echoed carefully, keeping accusation from her tone. May I inquire as to the justification for such an extended probation? An elder representative of the Morrigan Confederation, a tall, willowy being with bark-like skin and luminescent patterns flowing across its surface, spoke for the first time. Young races must be guided, Commander Reyes. Your species has demonstrated remarkable adaptability, but also concerning patterns of conflict. The probationary period is not a punishment. It is protection both for the established order and for humanity itself. Elena nodded slowly, buying time to consider her response. The terms were more restrictive than their worst-case scenarios had predicted. Earth had hoped for partnership, not patronage. Dr. Nakamura moved closer, speaking softly. Commander, these terms would effectively make Earth a protectorate, not a member. Our colonial development would stagnate under these restrictions. Lieutenant Patel's voice was even quieter, but edged with steel. This isn't diplomatic recognition, it's containment. Everything we've built since the unification would be undermined. Elena weighed her options, acutely aware that every eye in the chamber was fixed upon her. The diplomatic briefings had prepared her for negotiation, for compromise, even for delay, but not for terms that would reduce humanity to what amounted to a supervised child race. Her decision now would set humanity's course among the stars for generations. Councillor Vaxer distinguished representatives of the council. Elena began her voice, carrying clearly across the hushed chamber. Humanity acknowledges the council's generous offer. However, the terms as presented are inconsistent with the sovereign dignity of Earth and her colonies. A wave of whispers swept through the assembly. Vaxor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of surprise or perhaps irritation. The Council's wisdom in galactic affairs is unquestioned. Elena continued, choosing her words with surgical precision. But humanity does not bow to half measures. We came seeking partnership based on mutual respect, not supervision based on unproven concerns. You reject the Council's terms. Vaxor's translated voice carried a note of disbelief. Elena straightened to her full height, feeling the weight of her next words. Humanity respectfully declines the offered probationary status. We will continue our peaceful development and remain open to future dialogue when the Council is prepared to engage as equals. She turned to her delegation with a subtle gesture. We thank the Council for its consideration and take our leave. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated exclamations as Elena led her team toward the grand doors. The sound of their footsteps on the polished floor seemed to echo with historic significance. Are you certain of this course, Commander? Dr. Nakamura asked quietly as they walked. Elena kept her gaze forward, her pace unhurried but deliberate. Some offers must be declined if one is to retain the right to make better ones in the future. As the doors closed behind the human delegation, the Council's uproar continued. Humanity had not merely rejected a proposal, they had defied convention. They had abandoned the table. News of the human defiance reached Earth within days, transmitted through the quantum entanglement network that connected the homeworld to its colonies. The public reaction was as divided as it was passionate. In the sprawling hydroponic gardens of New Jakarta, celebrating crowds raised toasts to Commander Reyes's stand for human dignity. In the academic halls of Oxford and Nairobi, political theorists debated the wisdom of rejecting even limited recognition from the galaxy's most powerful political body. In the military installations orbiting Mars, strategic planners accelerated their assessments of potential Council responses. President Alvarez addressed the United Earth government from the Grand Hall in Geneva, her expression grave but resolute. Commander Reyes acted according to her conscience and her assessment of the situation. While some may question her decision, none can doubt her commitment to preserving humanity's right to self-determination. In light of the Council's restrictive offer, the Security Council has authorized increased funding for our defensive capabilities and accelerated research into tachyonic communications technology. On the colony world of Horizon, with its sweeping plains and twin moons, Governor Santiago ordered expanded construction of the planetary defense grid. We stand with Earth, he declared to the colony's 15 million citizens. We will not sacrifice our independence for the sake of recognition from those who would treat us as subordinates. On Novo Terra, the youngest colony with its vast oceans and archipelago settlements, militia recruitment tripled within a week of the news. The colony's leaders initiated emergency protocols for resource conservation and distributed production, preparing for potential isolation. Aboard the diplomatic vessel Concordia, returning through hyperspace toward Earth, Elena Reyes sat alone in her quarters, reviewing the Council session recordings for the dozenth time. The weight of her decision pressed upon her like a physical force. Had she condemned humanity to isolation, or worse, to conflict with powers far beyond Earth's ability to resist? A soft chime announced Dr. Nakamura's arrival. "Enter," Elena called, pausing the holographic display. Nakamura stepped into the Spartan chamber, carrying 2 steaming cups of tea. I thought you might need this, Commander. You've hardly left this room in 3 days. Elena accepted the cup gratefully, the aromatic steam momentarily grounding her in the present. I'm trying to determine if there was another way, a diplomatic path I missed. Nakamura settled into the chair opposite her. You made a principled decision. The terms they offered would have stunted human development for generations. We would have become dependent on Council technology without understanding its foundations. Principles won't shield our colonies if the Council decides to make an example of us. Elena said, the burden of command evident in her voice. That's assuming the Council acts as a unified entity, Nakamura observed. My analysis of the proceedings suggests significant divisions among the representatives. The Morrigan seemed almost approving of your stance, while the Irani delegation was noticeably silent during Vaxer's pronouncement. Elena leaned forward. You believe there might be sympathetic factions we could engage with? There are always cracks in any political structure, Nakamura replied. The Council has existed for millennia precisely because it adapts to incorporate new perspectives. Our rejection of their terms was unprecedented. That creates both risk and opportunity. Opportunity I may have jeopardized by walking away, Elena noted grimly. Nakamura's expression softened. Or opportunity you created precisely by doing so. Some doors only open when others close. Their conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Patel's urgent voice over the intercom. Commander, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Council observation vessels have been detected near all 3 colony worlds. Elena set down her tea duty, instantly replacing reflection. On my way to the bridge. The following weeks brought escalating tensions. Council member races severed diplomatic channels with Earth, while trading vessels from independent systems became increasingly scarce in human space. Intelligence reports confirmed that observation fleets from at least 7 Council races had established positions in international space near human colonies. On Earth, the United Space Command accelerated the commissioning of 3 new defensive cruisers, equipped with the experimental tachyon net technology developed in the research facilities of Olympus Mons. Military analysts worked around the clock to assess Council capabilities based on limited intelligence. Elena Reyes, promoted to Admiral following her return to Earth, found herself at the center of the crisis. Her face appeared on news broadcasts across human space, both as a symbol of principled resistance and as a target for those who feared the consequences of defying the Council. The observation fleets remain outside our territorial boundaries. Admiral Joe reported during a secure briefing at Space Command headquarters beneath the Pacific. They maintain passive scanning postures, but their deployment patterns suggest they're mapping our defensive capabilities. Elena studied the tactical display, noting the careful positioning of the alien vessels. They're sending a message, not preparing for immediate action. The Council prefers to exhaust diplomatic and economic options before resorting to military pressure. President Alvarez, joining via secure hologram from Geneva, looked troubled. Our intelligence suggests that several smaller Council races have expressed concern about the treatment of Earth's petition. There may be an opportunity to exploit these divisions. With respect, Madam President, Elena responded, direct outreach to sympathetic Council members might be interpreted as an attempt to undermine Council unity. That could accelerate hardliner responses. What do you propose instead, Admiral? Alvarez asked. Elena gestured to Dr. Nakamura, who had been quietly analyzing linguistic patterns in intercepted Council communications. Dr. Nakamura has identified several neutral trading enclaves where unofficial contact might be established without overtly challenging Council authority. Nakamura stepped forward, her normally reserved demeanor giving way to cautious optimism. The station at Vega Outpost is technically under Irani administration, but operates with significant autonomy. Ambassador Kira of the Iranian has a reputation for independent thinking. If we could arrange a seemingly coincidental encounter. Make it happen, President Alvarez ordered, but maintain deniability. We cannot afford to provoke the Council further while our defenses are still developing. As the meeting concluded, Elena found herself momentarily alone with Dr. Nakamura. "You've been unusually quiet about certain patterns in the Council's deployment," Elena observed. "What aren't you sharing with the full command staff?" Nakamura hesitated, then engaged her personal privacy field, blocking any potential surveillance. "I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the Council vessels. Several of them are showing fluctuation patterns, consistent with systems operating at significantly reduced capacity." Elena's eyes narrowed. "You're suggesting their technology isn't as advanced as they projected during the Council session?" "Not uniformly," Nakamura clarified. "The Z-Shar vessels appear to be genuinely advanced, but some of the others—" She shook her head. "The Council may present a unified technological front, but the reality appears more complicated. They've been careful to restrict our access to their various technological levels." This information shifted Elena's strategic thinking. If the Council's technological advantage was more about presentation than reality, humanity's position might not be as precarious as feared. Before she could explore this further, an urgent alert sounded. Lieutenant Patel, now captain following his promotion, rushed into the chamber. "Admiral, we have a situation at Novoterra. A combined flotilla of Council warships has entered the outer system. They're broadcasting a demand for immediate disarmament of the colony's defensive systems and reinstatement of the probationary terms." Elena's tactical training took over. "How many vessels?" 17 combat-capable ships from 4 different Council races, Patel reported. "The Z-Shar are leading the formation. Alert the President. Deploy the 6th Fleet to support Novoterra's defenses." Elena ordered, already moving toward the command center. "And prepare the UES Vanguard for immediate departure. I'll take command personally." The crisis at Novoterra unfolded rapidly. The colony, with its population of just over 6 million, had limited defensive capabilities, primarily a network of automated platforms and 2 patrol cruisers. Against 17 Council warships, conventional resistance would be futile. The Council flotilla established an orbital blockade positioning vessels to cover all approach vectors to the colony. Their ultimatum was clear: accept the Council's authority and disarm or face isolation and potential pacification. Aboard the UES Vanguard, humanity's most advanced warship, Admiral Elena Reyes prepared to execute a plan that would either secure humanity's future or condemn it. The massive vessel, with its distinctive arrowhead configuration and gleaming quantum alloy hull, pushed its engines to their limits as it led the relief force toward Novoterra. "We'll reach the outer system in 30 minutes, Captain Sato reported from the navigation station. "The Council flotilla is maintaining position in high orbit around Novoterra." Elena studied the tactical displays, her mind calculating variables and contingencies. Status of the tachyon net generators. Operating at 97% efficiency. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez confirmed from the engineering station. Theoretical range extends well beyond the Council formation. But Admiral, this technology has never been deployed in actual combat conditions. "Today it will be," Elena stated firmly. "Not to destroy, but to demonstrate." She opened a channel to the assembled fleet officers. "This is Admiral Reyes. Our mission today is not conquest or destruction. We face a coalition of races with histories spanning thousands of years. They believe their age grants them authority over younger civilizations like ours. Today we will show them that age and wisdom are not always correlative." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The Vanguard will execute a targeted deployment of tachyon fields around the Council vessels. These fields will temporarily disable their propulsion and weapon systems without causing permanent damage. Our objective is to demonstrate our technological capability while showing restraint. Humanity defends its sovereignty, but seeks no unnecessary conflict." As the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Novoterra system, sensors immediately detected the Council formation. The alien vessels shifted clearly, registering the human arrival. "They're powering weapon systems," Captain Patel reported tensely, "detecting targeting scans across our formation." Elena stood from her command chair. Open a channel to the Council flagship. The main view screen flickered, revealing the armored visage of a Zesher commander. Human vessels, you have entered restricted space. Power down your systems and prepare to receive boarding parties. Elena met the alien's compound gaze without flinching. This is Admiral Elena Reyes of the United Earth Command. Your fleet is threatening a sovereign human colony. We request your immediate withdrawal from Novo Terra space. The Zesher commander's mandibles clicked in what the translation software interpreted as derision. Your species rejected Council authority. Now you will learn the consequence of such defiance. We rejected unequal terms, Elena corrected calmly. Humanity stands ready to engage with the Council as equals, not as subjects. I ask once more, withdraw your vessels. Prepare to be subdued, came the cold response before the channel closed. Elena nodded to Captain Patel. Execute tachyon net deployment. Target their propulsion and weapon systems only. The Vanguard's massive hull hummed as the experimental system engaged. Invisible to the naked eye, quantum-entangled particles flooded the space around the Council vessels, creating overlapping fields that interfered with specific energy patterns. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the Council formation drive, plasmas flickered and died. Weapon targeting systems reset in endless loops. Communications arrays emitted only static. Tachyon nets deployed and functioning. Rodriguez reported unable to keep a note of awe from his voice. All 17 Council vessels are experiencing critical systems failures, exactly as predicted. No permanent damage detected. Elena opened a broadcast channel to all vessels in the system. Council representatives, your ships are temporarily disabled. We have employed a targeted, non-destructive technology that will dissipate in approximately 1 hour. This demonstration serves as evidence of humanity's technological capability and our commitment to non-violent resolution when possible. She paused carefully, choosing her next words. We defend our sovereignty, but seek no conquest. Earth and her colonies desire peaceful coexistence with all spacefaring races, but we will not accept subordination or intimidation. Stand down or face lasting division between our peoples that may take generations to heal. The silence that followed was profound. On Novo Terra's surface, colonists watched through observatory feeds as the much-feared Council flotilla hung powerless in orbit, neutralized without a single shot fired. After several tense minutes, a new signal came through, not from the Zesher commander, but from a sleek vessel at the edge of the Council formation. The screen revealed a tall, willowy figure with luminescent patterns flowing across bark-like skin, an elder of the Morrigan Confederation. Admiral Reyes. The elder spoke their translated voice, carrying notes of what might have been respect. The Council underestimated humanity's resolve and capability. This demonstration will force many to reconsider their position. Elena maintained her formal bearing. The Morrigan have always been known for their wisdom, elder. Humanity would welcome your voice in advocating for a more equitable relationship between Earth and the Council. Such advocacy comes with significant political risk, the Morrigan elder noted. What does humanity offer in return? A new perspective, Elena replied without hesitation. And alliance against threats that concern us all. Our scientists have detected unusual energy signatures from the ancient Sentinel towers in the unclaimed systems bordering both our territories. Signatures that have not been recorded in any accessible historical database. The Morrigan elder's luminescent patterns pulsed rapidly, a sign of surprise or alarm. These observations are verified. We are prepared to share our full findings with races willing to engage with us as equals, Elena confirmed. The elder was silent for a moment before responding. I will convey this information to those who might listen. When your intervention concludes, the Morrigan vessels will withdraw from this system as a gesture of good faith. I cannot speak for the others. As the communication ended, Elena turned to Dr. Nakamura, who had been analyzing the Morrigan's linguistic patterns and physiological responses. Your assessment. Genuine concern regarding the Sentinel Towers, Nakamura replied. The reference clearly resonated. The Morrigan may indeed become advocates for reopening dialogue. Over the next hour, as the tachyon effects gradually dissipated, the Council flotilla remained in disarray. When systems were finally restored, the Morrigan vessels departed as promised. After brief internal communications, the remaining Council ships also began to withdraw their formation dissolution, suggesting a breakdown in unified purpose. As the last Council vessel disappeared into hyperspace, cheers erupted across the bridge of the Vanguard and throughout the human fleet. Earth had faced its first major extraterrestrial crisis and emerged not only unscathed, but with enhanced standing. Elena did not join the celebration. She understood that this was not an ending, but a beginning, a fundamental shift in humanity's place among the stars. The Council would not forget this humiliation easily, and their response would shape interstellar politics for decades to come. Admiral, Captain Patel reported, interrupting her thoughts. We're receiving a coded transmission from Vega Outpost. Ambassador Kira of the Arraign requests a private channel. Elena nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps our back-channel communications are bearing fruit sooner than expected. Route it to my ready room. The aftermath of the Novo Terra incident rippled across galactic politics with surprising speed. Council unity, long presented as unshakable, revealed distinct fracture lines. The Morrigan Confederation publicly questioned the wisdom of alienating a species with humanity's evident potential, while smaller Council races began reaching out through unofficial channels. On Vega Outpost, Dr. Nakamura met clandestinely with Ambassador Kira of the Arraign, a species known for their diplomatic flexibility and long-term strategic thinking. The station's neutral commercial status provided cover for these delicate negotiations. Your Admiral's demonstration was effective. Kira observed her translucent skin, shifting hues as she spoke. Perhaps too effective. The Zisher Collective is calling for punitive measures including technology embargoes and mining rights revocation in disputed sectors. Nakamura maintained a neutral expression. Earth seeks partnership, not confrontation. The demonstration at Novo Terra was defensive, not aggressive. Intent and perception rarely align in Council politics, Kira noted. However, your information about the Sentinel Towers has created concern among several influential members. The towers have stood dormant for millennia if they are now showing signs of activation that supersedes questions of protocol and membership status. Humanity is prepared to share all our research on the towers, Nakamura offered. We propose a joint scientific council operating independently of formal council structures. Kira's skin rippled with thoughtful patterns. Such arrangements have historical precedent, particularly during the Scourge crisis 5 centuries ago. I will advocate for this approach among receptive members. As these secret talks proceeded, Earth continued strengthening its position. The success of the tachyon net technology accelerated research into other defensive systems. Colonial expansion paused, allowing resources to be directed toward fortifying existing settlements. Intelligence networks expanded, gathering critical information about Council dynamics and potential allies. Admiral Reyes found herself navigating not only military strategy, but increasingly complex diplomatic waters. Her stand at the Council and subsequent victory at Novo Terra had transformed her into a symbol both venerated and feared across human space. The public sees you as a figure of almost mythic proportion, President Alvarez remarked during a private meeting in her Geneva office. Polls show 93% approval for your handling of the Council situation. Elena looked out over Lake Geneva, its ancient waters, a reminder of humanity's enduring resilience. Myths are dangerous foundations for policy, Madam President. The Council underestimated us once. They won't make the same mistake twice. Which is precisely why your next assignment is so critical, Alvarez replied. Dr. Nakamura's back-channel communications have created an opening. Several Council races have agreed to informal scientific cooperation regarding the Sentinel Towers. You will oversee this joint venture." Elena turned surprised. "With respect, Madam President, I'm a military commander, not a scientific liaison." "You're a symbol, Admiral," Alvarez said firmly. "Your presence will signal Earth's commitment to this collaboration, while reminding all parties of our demonstrated capabilities. Dr. Nakamura will handle the diplomatic nuances. Captain Patel will oversee security protocols. This mission requires all three of you." 6 months after the confrontation at Novoterra, the research vessel, UES Discovery, approached the ancient Sentinel Tower in the Tau Ceti system. The massive structure, over 20 kilometers tall and composed of materials that defied conventional analysis, had stood silent witness to countless civilizations rising and falling over millions of years. Now, for reasons unknown, it, and others like it across the galaxy, were showing signs of renewed activity. The Discovery wasn't alone. Vessels from 7 council races formed a loose research coalition around the tower, including ships from the Morrigan Confederation, the Arrain Concord, and surprisingly, a small scientific vessel from the Zisher Collective. On the Discovery's observation deck, Admiral Reyes stood with Dr. Nakamura and Captain Patel watching as the interspecies research teams coordinated their approach to the tower. "The Zishar representative has requested to come aboard." Captain Patel reported, his expression revealing his skepticism. "To facilitate direct scientific exchange, according to their message." Elena considered this unexpected development. "Security assessment. Their vessel is lightly armed and they're sending only 2 representatives," Patel replied. "I've implemented all standard protocols. If this is some form of intelligence gathering, they won't learn anything we haven't cleared for sharing." Dr. Nakamura offered a different perspective. "The representative is Junior Science Coordinator Varric. According to Ambassador Kira, he's considered something of a progressive within the collective. His presence could indicate a shift in Zisher policy, or at least an internal debate about their stance toward humanity." Elena nodded decisively. "Approve the request. Arranging this coalition was a significant diplomatic achievement. We should demonstrate our openness to collaboration." The meeting with the Zisher representatives proved surprisingly productive. Junior Science Coordinator Varric displayed none of the condescension that had characterized previous Zisher interactions. His focus remained entirely on the scientific mystery posed by the Sentinel Towers. Our historical archives contain references to similar activation patterns approximately 15,000 galactic standard years ago. Varric explained, manipulating a holographic representation of energy wavelengths. That event preceded the collapse of the predecessor civilization that once dominated this sector. Dr. Nakamura leaned forward, intrigued. "Do your archives indicate what triggered the activation?" "Unfortunately, no," Varric admitted. "The records from that period are fragmentary. However, recent deep space observations have detected unusual radiation patterns emanating from the galactic core, patterns that match frequencies being emitted by the Sentinel Towers." The implications hung in the air. Whatever had caused the towers to activate it might represent a threat significant enough to transcend political divisions. As the scientific coalition delved deeper into the Sentinel mystery, diplomatic channels gradually reopened. The Morrigan Confederation formally proposed a reconsideration of Earth's relationship with the Council, while the Arrain Concord offered technological exchange protocols outside the normal Council framework. 9 months after the Novoterra demonstration, humanity received an unexpected communication, an invitation to a special Council summit on Horizon Station, located at the neutral boundary between Council space and human territory. The invitation comes directly from the Council conclave. President Alvarez informed her security cabinet. Not from Councillor Vaxor or the Zishar Collective, but from the combined elder representatives of the founding races. This suggests a significant shift in Council dynamics. Admiral Reyes, joining the meeting via secure hologram from the Discovery, offered her assessment. The Sentinel Tower research has accelerated diplomatic openings. Multiple Council races now acknowledge humanity's scientific contributions. More importantly, The Tachyon net demonstration showed we can defend ourselves without resorting to destructive force. The question remains, Defense Minister Okonkwo interjected, whether this summit represents a genuine recalibration of Council policy or merely a change in tactics. We should prepare for either possibility. President Alvarez surveyed her advisors before making her decision. Admiral Reyes, you will lead our delegation to the summit. Dr. Nakamura and Captain Patel will accompany you, along with a scientific team familiar with the Sentinel research. This is both a diplomatic mission and a security operation. The future relationship between humanity and the Council will be determined by what transpires at Horizon Station. Horizon Station gleamed like a jewel against the backdrop of interstellar space. Its distinctive ring structure rotating to provide artificial gravity housed diplomatic facilities designed to accommodate dozens of different species. As the human delegation shuttle approached, Elena was struck by the elegant neutrality of its design, neither Earth-centric nor conforming to Council architectural standards. Approach pattern confirmed, the shuttle pilot announced. We're cleared for docking at the main diplomatic terminal. Elena exchanged glances with Dr. Nakamura and Captain Patel. After months of crisis management and careful diplomatic maneuvering, they had arrived at a potential turning point in human history. Whatever happens in there, Elena said quietly, we've already succeeded in changing humanity's trajectory. We refused to accept second-class status, and now we're being invited to negotiate as equals. Not entirely as equals, Nakamura cautioned. The Council still represents significantly more combined power and territory than Earth. We should remain mindful of that reality while seeking the best possible terms. Captain Patel checked his security readouts one final time. All delegation members have been briefed on emergency protocols. The Vanguard remains on standby at the edge of the system, ready to respond if necessary. The Grand Chamber within Horizon Station echoed the design of the Council Chamber on the Citadel, but with a crucial difference: the delegates' positions were arranged in concentric circles, with no obvious hierarchical positioning. Representatives from 23 Council races attended, along with observers from several independent systems. Councillor Vaxor, of the Zisher Collective, opened the proceedings, his mandibles moving in the formal patterns of Council ritual. This extraordinary session addresses the relationship between the Council of Worlds and the sovereign territory of Earth and her colonies in light of changing circumstances and mutual concerns. Elena noticed the careful phrasing, sovereign territory, represented a significant shift from previous Council terminology regarding human space. Since our last formal interaction, Vaxor continued, several developments have altered the Council's assessment of humanity's position. The technological demonstration at Novoterra revealed capabilities previously unacknowledged. More significantly, human scientists have made valuable contributions to understanding the activation of the ancient Sentinel network, a phenomenon that potentially concerns all spacefaring civilizations. The elder representative of the Morgan Confederation rose next, luminescent patterns flowing across his bark-like skin. The Council was founded on principles of mutual protection and advancement. While traditions and protocols have served us well for millennia, they must adapt to new realities. Humanity has demonstrated both the capability to defend itself and the wisdom to exercise restraint. Ambassador Kira of the Arain stepped forward, her translucent skin shifting through diplomatic hues. The joint scientific initiatives regarding the Sentinel Towers have proven the value of human perspective. Their unconventional approaches have yielded insights that might have taken the Council decades to discover through traditional methods. As the various representatives spoke, Elena perceived the careful diplomatic choreography at work. The Council was creating a narrative that allowed for humanity's acceptance without acknowledging that their initial approach had been flawed. When Elena's turn came to address the Assembly, she rose with measured dignity. Representatives of the Council and independent systems, humanity appreciates this opportunity for constructive dialogue. Earth seeks neither dominance nor isolation, but partnership based on mutual respect. The activation of the Sentinel network reminds us that there are challenges in this galaxy that transcend political boundaries and historical rivalries. She gestured toward the scientific data displayed on the chamber's holographic systems. The Sentinels appear to be responding to some signal or event originating from the galactic core, a signal with characteristics matching those recorded before the collapse of the predecessor civilization. If these ancient warning systems are indeed signaling a threat of similar magnitude, no single species or political entity can address it alone. The chamber fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. After intensive discussions spanning 3 days, a new agreement emerged. Humanity would join the Council as full members with no probationary period. In exchange, Earth would share its tachyon net technology for defensive applications only, and lead a multi-species scientific coalition dedicated to understanding the Sentinel activation. In the final ceremony, Elena placed the flag of the United Earth Government on the central dais, alongside the ancient banners of the Council's founding races. As she completed this symbolic gesture, she noticed Councillor Vaxor observing from his delegation's position. The Zeshar representative offered a subtle nod and acknowledgement, if not quite respect. Later, in her quarters aboard the human diplomatic vessel, Elena recorded her personal log. Today marks a transformation in humanity's cosmic standing. By refusing to accept terms that would have diminished us, we created the opportunity for terms that may elevate all spacefaring civilizations. We abandoned the table, only to build a larger one where all may sit as equals. She paused, considering the challenges that still lay ahead. The Sentinel Towers continued their mysterious activation sequence, their ancient warnings becoming more pronounced with each passing week. The unified research efforts had only begun to decode their complex messages. The path forward remains uncertain, she continued. The Council's acceptance of humanity comes partly from necessity. The potential threat signaled by the Sentinels overrides traditional caution. But perhaps that is how lasting alliances have always formed, not through comfort, but through confronting common dangers with shared purpose. As Elena completed her log, Dr. Nakamura requested entry. The xenolinguist's normally composed features showed signs of excitement and concern. "We've made a breakthrough in translating the Sentinel signals," Nakamura reported without preamble. "The pattern isn't a warning, it's a countdown." "To what?" Elena asked, immediately alert. Nakamura displayed a holographic representation of the signal pattern. Based on the rate of progression and historical records provided by the Morrigan archives, we believe the Sentinels are preparing for some form of massive energy release directed toward the galactic core. Previous instances of this pattern preceded the arrival of something the predecessors called the Void Tide, a phenomenon that apparently caused their civilization's collapse. Elena studied the data, her mind already shifting to strategic considerations. "How long?" "Less than 1 galactic standard year," Nakamura replied grimly. "Too soon for any single civilization to prepare adequate defenses, but perhaps enough time for a united effort." Elena nodded thoughtfully. So, humanity joins the galactic community just as it faces its greatest challenge in millennia. Present this information at tomorrow's council session. Emphasize that our tachyon technology might be adaptable to counter whatever energy form the Void Tide takes. As Nakamura departed, Elena turned to the viewport, gazing at the distant stars. The galaxy had watched in surprise as humanity abandoned the diplomatic table. Now, they would watch as humans helped build a new table, one where ancient rivals might become allies against cosmic threats that no civilization could face alone. In the observatory deck of Horizon Station, representatives of 24 spacefaring races gathered around holographic projections of the Sentinel Towers. The ancient structures, now pulsing with increasing energy, formed a network spanning the galactic arm. Whatever message they transmitted, whatever defense they prepared, it would shape the future of all who sailed the cosmic ocean. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through submission, but through principled defiance, married with compassion. The journey ahead remained uncertain, but as Admiral Elena Reyes took her position among the United Scientific Coalition, she knew that some principles transcended the boundaries of biology, history, and space itself: dignity, courage, and the willingness to stand together against the darkness.